Good evening. I taught in a Belfast secondary school for almost 30 years, so it's no big surprise that I'm always interested in what's happening in the world of education. Over the past few days, we've had a number of news articles, media articles about Minister of Education Peter Weir's initiative to try and tackle the whole question of educational underachievement in our Northern Ireland schools. Now, this isn't anything new. Underachievement in our schools has always posed a problem, but this is what Peter Weir is trying to do at the minute. Under the New Decade, New Approach Agreement, the executive is establishing, under Peter Weir's guidance, an expert group to look into the whole question of underachievement. And if you read down that, you'll see some of the names. I'm not going to spend a long time on it. And I've come up with a number of issues which they feel are factors in promoting underachievement, or maybe factors promoting underachievement in our schools. And we've got economic deprivation, we've got academic selection coming in there, we've got lack of support from parents and low expectations from some teachers and some schools, and insufficient support for students with special needs. But I would argue strongly that there's other factors, and one of the main factors that I would argue is of crucial importance to the promotion of education within any school is the head teacher. And to my knowledge, nobody has ever put a spotlight on the role of the head teacher. So I wrote an email and I have sent it to the Minister of Education, and I'm just going to read this email to you now. Dear Mr. Weir, I see that after decades of discussion with and advice from educational panels, experts, stakeholders, etc., we are still no further on in trying to find solutions to the question of underachievement in education. All sorts of excuses/reasons are offered for this underachievement. We have disadvantaged backgrounds cited. We have academic selection cited, we have inadequate support from parents, low expectations from some teachers and schools, and insufficient support for students with special educational needs. All these have been cited as apparent bogeymen that rob our children of educational success. Might I add one more significant factor/influence/reason to the never-ending list? It has been proven time and time again that the performance/good outworkings of a school, its teachers and each individual pupil in it, permeates down from above. The choice of who gets to be a head teacher is critical, but I feel has been overlooked. In my 30 years of secondary school teaching, I saw head teachers come and go. Some were good and some were very poor. Good head teachers had a massive influence on the outcomes of their schools. Sadly, I have experience of head teachers who should clearly have never been appointed to that supreme position of responsibility. I have seen such people, despite marvellous interview performances and having a top-class CV, being completely out of their depth or simply not up to the job. One poor head teacher can easily destroy the hard-earned academic/community reputation of a secondary school in under 5 years. I have seen it happen. I have seen incompetent, egotistical, dictatorial, my way or the highway, aloof head teachers destroy what were once good schools. I have seen them eventually retire, damage done, on big pensions with not a finger of blame pointed in their direction. Was this to spur the Department of Education's blushes or the retiring head teacher? School head teachers in the Protestant sector are appointed by the Department of Education. Need I say more? Many years ago, I was a student teacher at Stranmillis College. As a result of teaching practice and dining room chat, you quickly got to know what life was like in quite a number of Belfast schools. There was a period back then that Ashfield Boys was known to students as a tough school to teach in and one to be avoided at all costs. In later years I learned, through the teaching grapevine, that there was a new dynamic head teacher leading Ashfield Boys and that positive changes were being made. This man was Andy McMorran. Mr. McMorran became respected over the years for being the man who turned the school around. In fact, the school became so popular that it was overflowing and pupils had to be turned away. What am I saying? A good captain will not sail his ship onto the rocks. A good headmaster or head teacher will gather his staff around him and get his parents and pupils on board too. He will always lead from the front. He will not be a mere manager who locks himself away in his office. Together, head teacher and staff will build a school community where success is promoted, lauded and rewarded in a way that pupils find relevant. What Andy McMorran and his senior staff team did at Ashfield Boys was remarkable, but as he says himself, it is not rocket science. Mr. Weir, for the sake of our children and their education, I would humbly suggest to you that your Underachievement in Education team, when it searches for answers, takes into account the importance of the key leadership role of the man at the helm of any school, along with the other factors and reasons listed above. Best wishes, Tom McLean, former teacher, head of year and head of department of 30 years standing in a Belfast secondary school.